Well, good morning, everybody. Happy Friday. Hope everybody's having a great start to their Friday. Power rankings, the reveal of the order of our positional rankings now that everything has been averaged out. We've got it broken down into just looking at offenses. We've got it breaking down just looking at defenses. We have it just based solely on the numbers. And then on the show today, we are going to take those numbers based projections and make changes and reveal our first 2023 power rankings for the upcoming season. So, should be a lot of fun. Hope you are all having a great start to your Friday. Looking forward to this one. Should be a lot of fun. What's up, Jamie? What's up, Heldy? What's up, Janelle? What's up, Bailey? Hope you are all having a great start to your Friday. I've got everything ready to go here. Worked a little bit ahead, and so we're good to go. I've got the rankings here on the other screen, and so I'm going to set this up for us to be able to go to the full screen so that you guys can see the teams and the numbers. That is zoomed in way too much. We'll get it to here. And there we go. All right. So I will go to this screen. Hello, good morning, everybody. Excited to have you here. Excited for this show today as we put the final bow on the positional ranking series that we have been doing for the last couple of weeks here. Now that we've got, now that we're all done, we can now put together our first power rankings for 2023. So looking forward to kind of putting a bow on this positional ranking series that we've been working on the last couple of weeks. So if you guys are all ready to go, I'm here. I'm here. I've got the big screen ready to go as well. So I'm going to press the record button for the podcast audience, and we are going to get this show on the road. And welcome in to the Friday edition of the TDN Daily podcast. Chris Schubert back with you here once again on the show. Hope you are all having a fantastic start to your Friday. We've got the live YouTube chat here ready to go as we reveal the first power rankings for the show of 2023. Now that our positional ranking series is wrapped up, we've done all of the positions, we've done the coaches. We are now going to take all of that data, all of that information, and we have power rankings that we are going to go through here today on the show. So a little bit of the order of operations here. We have these power rankings broken down into 3 categories currently, and we're going to add a 4th here by the time we are all set and done. So we have the power rankings based solely on the numbers. So just taking the average ranking for each team through all 11 categories that we have done, taking that average, and the team with the lowest average is at number 1, the team with the highest average is at 32. No context added, 1 through 32. The only thing that is of note there is that if there was a tie, we defaulted to the team with the better quarterback room to break said tie when it came to the power rankings based solely on the numbers. Then we've got these broken down into just looking at the offenses and just looking at the defenses to see which teams ranked highly in the offensive side of things and which teams ranked highly on the defensive side of things. So we've got those 2 separate lists as well that we're going to go through, and then we're going to double back. We're going to go back to our power rankings based solely on the numbers, and then we're going to make tweaks. We're going to move teams up and down, and then we are going to put together how we feel about this 2023 season ahead of time with our version of power rankings. There are already a couple of teams that I want to move down and a couple teams that I want to move up, and so we're going to have that conversation here throughout the course of the show. So we're going to do something that we very rarely do this early in the show. I'm going to go to the full screen early so that you guys can see the full list here. And as you can see, I'm going to reveal it as slowly as I can. I don't know if moving down is only just going to show one team or it's going to show a bunch, but we're going to go down one by one or as slow as we can and reveal these teams in the power rankings just based solely on the numbers, and I have their actual numbers listed as well. So, all right, it jumped down and it revealed the top 4 right away. So we've got the Philadelphia Eagles coming in here at number 1 with an average ranking of a 9.45, the only team whose average ranking was inside the top 10 for everything. So if we took all 11 positions and you average it out, their average ranking was a 9.45. Number 2, the San Francisco 49ers with a 10.55 ranking. The Kansas City Chiefs in 3rd with an 11 on the nose. And the Buffalo Bills in 4th with a 12.09. We'll keep moving down here. The Miami Dolphins in 5th with a 12.45. The Cincinnati Bengals in 6th with an average ranking of a 12.64. This was the surprise, and this is the team that I think we're going to have to move pretty quickly when we do our rankings. The Cleveland Browns with an average ranking of 13 are in here at number 7, and the Los Angeles Chargers round out the top 8 with a 13.09. The Seattle Seahawks tied with them at a 13.09, but again, the quarterback room, the tiebreaker there, so we went with Herbert and company over Geno Smith and company. The Baltimore Ravens at the top 10 at 13.45, tied with the Dallas Cowboys at 13.45. But again, we went with which team had the higher. It's an objective metric. Whichever team had the higher quarterback ranking on the spreadsheet, which I have over here, I'll show you if it'll load. Wherever they ranked in the quarterback department, the higher ranking got put higher to break the tie. And then we've got the Saints at 14.73. In 12th place, 13, the Steelers at 15.09, the Broncos at 14 at 15.45, the Jets and Panthers tied with a 15.64, the Jets with Aaron Rodgers and company go in front, so they're 15 and 16 respectively. The Jags at 17 with a 16.00 on the nose, the Lions at 18 with a 16.64, the Packers and Falcons tied with 16.73. The Packers go in front because of their quarterback ranking. They're 19, Atlanta is 20. We've got the Minnesota Vikings at 21 with an average ranking of a 16.91. The Patriots at 22 with an average ranking of a 17.18. The Giants in 23rd with an average ranking of an 18.09. The Commanders at 24 with an average ranking of a 20.09. And then we get to the bottom here. The Colts with a 20.36 in 25th place. The Bears at 26 with a 20.73. The Bucks at 27, 21.18. Don't worry, everybody. The Houston Texans, despite having a wide receiver group that you guys hated having ranked at 24, is still down here at 28 with an average ranking of a 21.36. And then you get to the bottom four. The Titans at 29 with a 22.00. The Las Vegas Raiders at 30 with a 22.82. The Los Angeles Rams with a 24.36. And then the Arizona Cardinals, our worst team in football, with an average ranking of a 26 on the nose. And we're seeing some comments in the chat. Bailey says the Browns have a really good team now. It just depends on Watson, but you factored that in. We did factor that in our ranking. Bailey says the NFC North is struggling. Sam says the surprise the Lions are that low. Yeah, they're one of the teams that I have kind of marked as I don't really feel like they're the 18th best team in football. I think they're much better than that. And then Jamie says the Cardinals are too high, having them here at 32nd. And again, we have factored in half the season of Clayton Tune or Colt McCoy, and then half the season with Kyler Murray with what we did with their quarterback ranking, yet they still sit here at 32nd. So that's the way we have it, 1 through 32, power rankings based solely on the numbers. And then it was asked by the chat yesterday in the post show, I believe, for me to break it down into just offense and to just defense, and we did just that. So just based on offense, your top 5 were Philly, Kansas City, Cleveland, the Chargers, the Bengals, 49ers, Seahawks, Ravens, Saints, and Vikings round out the top 10 on offense. And 4 teams had rankings, had average rankings inside the top 10 on offense. Those being the Eagles, Chiefs, Browns, and Chargers. And again, the Browns, the surprise here, but we have their quarterback ranked pretty low. Their quarterback room ranked pretty low because of Deshaun Watson's play last year, yet they are still here at 3rd. Their offensive line does a lot of heavy lifting. We view their running back room very highly. Their wide receiver group was a top 10 group. They've just got a lot of top 10 groups, and so that allows them to kind of overrule the low quarterback ranking that they've had. The rest of the list, Dallas at 11, Atlanta at 12. We are high on the Atlanta Falcons offense, was my big takeaway when I put these numbers together this morning. Detroit at 13, Jacksonville at 14, Buffalo at 15, the Jets at 16, Dolphins 17, Giants 18, Steelers 19, Packers 20. And again, if you see any ties here in the numbers, quarterback was still the tiebreaker here on offense. The Broncos, Raiders, and Colts all tied at 21, 22, and 23. Quarterback broke the tie there. The Bears at 24, Panthers at 25, Patriots at 26, Houston at 27, the Commanders at 28, the Cardinals at 29, the Rams at 30, and then the Titans at Bucks were 31 and 32 with quarterback being the tie there. And so you saw where Tampa ranked overall on the list. They were able to get themselves to 27, and it is not because of their quarterback. It's not because of their offense. Their offense ranked very, very low at 32nd. We go to the defense, the top 5. I thought this was a surprise, the way that this list kind of shaked out. Miami, Buffalo, San Francisco, Carolina, and Pittsburgh were the top 5. The only 2 teams with an average top 10 ranking on defense were Miami and Buffalo. Buffalo barely snuck in there with a 9.8. The rest of the top 10, Seattle, Cincinnati, Dallas, the Saints, and the Eagles were in the top 10. And then you've got the Jets, Broncos, Bucks, Packers, Chargers, Browns, rounding out the top 16. And then the rest of the top 20, Ravens, Chiefs, Patriots, and the Falcons. Commanders, Jags, Titans, Lions, Texans, the next tier up. And then you've got the Giants, Vikings, Colts, Bears, Cardinals, Raiders, and Rams to round out the the 32. So that is how it broke down on defense and offense. I don't want to sit here and bore you guys with all of these numbers. We're 8 minutes into the show already, but I did want to at least present to you the data as we have it. And now we can get into what is the nitty gritty of today's show, and that is we're going to go back up here to the power rankings based solely on numbers, and we're going to move teams around and put together our official power rankings for 2023. And what we can allow this to do is if we want to put more weight on coaching, if we want to put more weight on some key defensive groups, like having a good pass rush. Oh, by the way, any ties that you saw on the defensive list as we scrolled through, I'll just find an example. Like Dallas and the Saints were both tied at 13.6. The tiebreaker that I used there was who had the better edge group, who had the better pass rush group was the tiebreaker that I used for defense. If everyone thinks there was a better tiebreaker, we can go back and run the numbers, but I thought that was the fairest tiebreaker to kind of put a little bit of an extra weight on that position group at large. But we want to go back up here to the top to this rankings list, and we want to move some teams around. I'm actually going to try to zoom out a little bit so we can see a bigger chunk of this and make some changes. Chris is a pass rush guy, a pass rush over coverage guy. I think in today's NFL, I'm a pass rush over coverage guy. Yeah. And so what we're going to do now is put together our power rankings and allow us to put weight on certain things like coaching, like having an elite quarterback, and allow us to move things around. And so that's what now we're going to be able to get into the weeds on and move teams around. And I think teams that we probably should move a little bit. Miami should probably come down from being a top 5 team, but not much. Cleveland should probably go down out of being a top 10 team. I think Detroit should probably move up. Jacksonville should move up. Those are kind of teams that I think we should eagerly look to move around here. And again, I've done nothing on this list. Normally, I come to you guys with a full list, but I haven't done this. We just ran the math, and so now we'll go through it. And so I think the biggest thing that I'd like to have a conversation about here as a group is what do we want to do with the Chiefs and the Eagles? Because the Chiefs are the defending Super Bowl champs. They did just play each other in the Super Bowl, and the Chiefs beat the Eagles. And so I feel like if we're going to do a power ranking and we're going to look at this going into 2023, how can we not have the defending champs who still have Patrick Mahomes at number 1? I know that we like Philly's roster better, but I think we need to put weight on Patrick Mahomes being Patrick Mahomes. And so I kind of want to move Kansas City to 1 and have Philly at 2 and then lock those two teams in there the way that we have them. And leave it at that. Bailey says, I do not think a Brock Purdy-led team can be ranked above a Mahomes-led team. No, Bailey, 100%. We were definitely moving the Chiefs up, but it was just a question of do we want to put them at 1 instead of 2? I think we do. And I know that we think Philly has the better roster, but the Chiefs are the defending Super Bowl champs, and so I think we need to do that, I think, to be consistent. So we're going to do that with 1 and 2. And so people want to move San Francisco down. I agree. We love the rest of the roster, but I think quarterback play matters. I think we can make San Francisco a top 10 team when we do this list. Like, I think I would take San Francisco over Cleveland for sure. I would take them over Seattle. I would take them over Dallas. I would take them over New Orleans. But that's really about it. I think there are some other teams that we need to move around. I would put Cincinnati 3rd right now if I was for doing this power rankings. I think Cincinnati needs to move up. And so we will move them up and put them in front of Miami. Bailey says, who are the teams outside the top 10 that we want to move in? That's a fair question. So here are the teams right outside the top 10. I'll give you this chunk down to probably about 18 are teams that we're considering. Dallas, New Orleans, Pittsburgh, Denver, New York, the Panthers, the Jags, and the Lions, I think, is as far as you go, because I don't think we're going to view Green Bay, Atlanta. I don't think we're going to view Minnesota as a top 10 team. So I think if you want to have a chunk of teams that we want to discuss as top 10 teams, I think we can move these teams around. I don't know if I would move Pittsburgh and Denver into the top 10. I don't think I would move Carolina into the top 10. If you want to move the Jets there because of Rodgers, I think they would be just like, I think we can move them up to 9 or 10. The Lions, I'd like to move into maybe like the top 12. But other than that, I'm not really sure how I feel about most of this. I'm going to lock Cincinnati in at 3 going into the season. And then after that, we've got some questions that we can ask ourselves. I think it's no secret how I feel about the Buffalo Bills this season, that I have a lot of question marks of what they're going to be. But they still have Josh Allen, and I think that's enough to move them at least in front of San Francisco and to get them into the 4 spot, and I think we'll lock them in at number 4. And I don't think this is, anything counterintuitive. I'm not trying to do a hot takey list where we've got, oh, look at this surprise team that we have in the top 10. That's not what we're trying to do. We are trying to look at our numbers, look at the list that we put together, add some context to it, put some weight on some positions that maybe we didn't give enough weight to when we did the actual list, and get what we feel is a comfortable power ranking for 2023. And so that's what we want to do. I like Miami's team a lot, and so I think they need to be in this mix. I think these two teams are very similar. You would give Miami, I think, the quarterback edge, but I think I give San Francisco the coaching edge. And so it's really, really close. I'm kind of okay leaving these two teams where we have them. Because again, they're really, really close. San Francisco has the quarterback edge. I think Miami has the quarterback edge, but it's close. And so I'm going to leave them where they're at. I think Cleveland needs to move down. Because while, yes, we rank their quarterback room pretty low, and actually we can look. I can scroll all the way up to the top here, and we can see where we had their group. We had them at 18. I don't know if that's enough weight to really, truly contextualize how bad Deshaun Watson was last year. And so I kind of want to move them down. I definitely want to move the Chargers in front of them. I definitely want to move the Chargers in front of them and move them up to 7. I'm hurt. San Francisco can't be top 5. I don't know, Tate. I mean, you can give me a case for another team that we should be putting in. I mean, if you want to flip Miami and San Francisco, I really think that's the only conversation that we can have here. I mean, this San Francisco team had an average ranking basically of a top 10 team in every position group on average. There's value to that. And specifically in some key areas. I mean, let's see where they ranked. Offensively, they were a top 6 team, even with the what we talked about, the quarterback, and on defense, they were third. I mean, that we can't discount that, and so I think that's enough to have them in this mix here. And I'm actually going to get rid of the base solely on numbers because we're not doing this based solely on numbers anymore. There has been some movement to move both Dallas and Baltimore in front of Cleveland. I think we can get on board with that. I think both of those teams are better on paper. And I think I would take, I mean, now we're starting to get to a place where I feel a little bit more comfortable, because I feel Cleveland and Seattle are very similar teams. I think Cleveland and Seattle are similar teams. They're also similar in terms of their ranking too, so that feels kind of fair. There was some argument to maybe move the Jets up a little bit, and if we want to move the Jets to here, we could, and round out the top 10. So we can move the Jets. Tate is true, but wide receiver, quarterback, and corner rooms go to Miami, and those are 3 key spots. Fair. I think there's an overwhelming coaching discrepancy that is favored into San Francisco. I mean, we had San Francisco as the second best coaching staff. And I think we need to factor in because now, Tate, here's where we can put some extra weight on things that aren't quantifiable, right? Miami, it's great that they've got quarterback, but if Tua gets hurt, they're going to Mike White. And we like that group. We had that group ranked pretty high because they had a high upside backup. But this is where we can kind of say, okay, who's got the better infrastructure to maybe withstand a quarterback injury? I think San Francisco does. I think we've seen that. There's some motions to move Detroit up in our power rankings. And there was also some motion. I need to remove the Jets from their current spot on the list. The Seahawks are also in this group as well. I think I locked the Browns in next. Yeah, I think this is enough of a fall for them to kind of couch the Deshaun Watson struggles last year. I would love to move Detroit and Jacksonville up. I like Jacksonville more than I like Seattle this year. So I think I want to put Jacksonville here, and I think I want to move Detroit up as well and put Detroit right behind Jacksonville. And have it look like this. Have Jacksonville be 12, have Detroit be 13, and have Seattle be 14. I'm kind of low on the Seattle team this year, and again, they have an average 13.09 ranking, but I'm kind of low on what Geno Smith can be this year. And so that concerns me a little bit. I still think they're a top half of the league team, Seattle, and I still think they'll compete for a playoff spot. But I think I like Jacksonville and Detroit better than those teams. So, all right, we're locking down to 14 here. We continue to scroll through this list. Is there any team that we want to potentially move up here on this list? I think we'll go down to, I think 23 to 15 is probably the next chunk that we're looking at where we may want to move some teams around. I could see a case where we want to move Minnesota up a little bit. I can see a case where we want to maybe move Carolina up a little bit. I can see a case where we may want to move Green Bay and Atlanta down a little bit after these numbers. Those are some, maybe Denver down a little bit, a couple of spots. How high does New England jump if they land Hopkins? Let's see. This is a great question, Ben. And so what I'm going to do, I'm going to scroll up to wide receiver. We had the Patriots at 28 when it came to wide receiver. If they added Hopkins, they would go above Green Bay. They would go above the Rams. I think they would kind of slot into like this tier right here. They would move up a couple of spots, and I don't know what that would do to their overall ranking overall. It probably wouldn't change it by much. Broncos could drop if Russ does not take a jump. Yeah, and I kind of want to hedge against that. I like the Saints at 15. I think that's a fair representation of where they're at as a team. I think I would make a motion to move Carolina maybe up. But I don't feel strongly enough about really moving any team down to 20 one way or the other. I feel pretty comfortable with the way that this plays itself out. I don't know about you guys, but I feel pretty comfortable with 15 through 20. And this isn't number order with the way that they finished statistically based on our rankings, but I also feel pretty good about where we've got them. We can tweak one or two spots, but it feels right. I think that is a tier can be in any order. All right, we'll lock down to 20. Now we get into this tier. I want to move. I want to move this team up. I want to move the New York Giants up. Is everybody okay with that? Is everybody okay with moving the Giants up? I mean, it's we're only going to maybe move them probably one or two spots, but it's telling me that the Giants are the 23rd team in the National Football League is a little bit lower than how I want to have them. Bailey says the top three have to be the top three in this tier. I think there is a break here, 21 to 23, which is Minnesota, New England, Giants, and then whatever we're going to do down here. And by the way, we are moving this team down. We are moving the Bucks. Giants over Broncos, to be honest. I want to move the Giants up. I do. I have some concerns about whether or not they can repeat what they did a year ago. And so that's why I wouldn't have them ranked much higher than this. But I think I like them. They beat Minnesota in the playoffs, and I think the Giants got better this offseason. And I don't know if Minnesota got better. Right? And so that's kind of a weird way to break a tie, but I just watched these two teams play in the playoffs, and I watched the Giants beat this team, and the Giants got better. And I like the Giants coaching better. Did we like the Giants coaching better? Yeah, we like the Giants coaching 12th. We had Minnesota down at 17. So I think we feel good here. And then I like Minnesota over New England. I think those two teams are pretty close, and so we'll let the numbers kind of do the talking there. And then we get to the bottom here. Washington. I think if you're gonna leave Washington as the top of this tier, and I think I would largely agree, you're just betting on their talent defensively that they have. You're betting on, because where did they fit in defensively? They were 21st defensively. And where were they offensively? They were 28th. So you're betting on their defense doing a lot of the heavy lifting here. But you have questions about QB. They've got a decent coaching staff. Where do we rank their coaching staff? We ranked their coaching staff 21. I mean, I feel like this is kind of where they need to be. So I'm gonna lock them in at 24. And now we get to the bottom. Folks, I would like to do this. I would like to move Tampa into the second worst spot. If that's okay with everybody, I would like to move Tampa into the 31st spot, and I would like to lock these two teams in. I think it's very clear that those are going to be the two worst teams in all of football this year, Tampa and Arizona. I'd also strongly consider flipping the Raiders and the Rams And there is some movement in the chat, and I would agree. I deleted Houston. Oh no, I did. I deleted Houston instead of Tampa. My apologies. Thank you, Janelle, for pointing that out. Deleted the wrong team. I want to lock in Tampa and Arizona. I want to flip Chicago and Indy because we got a rookie quarterback against Justin Fields. And so look at how close these teams are. We can allow Justin Fields to be the difference maker here. And I'd like to do this. I'd like to flip the Raiders and the Rams because I think if Stafford is healthy, we got a better coaching staff, we got a better quarterback. The wide receivers are basically the same kind of group: Cooper Kupp, Devontae Adams. We've got the better running back in LA. The defense is tough, but I think the defense is tough on both sides. And I don't trust the coaching staff in Vegas. So Ben says Raiders greater than sign Rams. I don't know, man. The Rams are better in all of the key areas, in my opinion. They're better at coaching. They're better at quarterback. I mean, you've got Max Crosby versus Aaron Donald. Bailey says if Stafford is healthy, this Rams ranking could be too low because Stafford, Kupp, and McVay can curate a good offense. I don't think he's healthy, though. Right. I mean, we're going to look foolish if he's healthy. But the defense is also going to give up a ton of points. They're going to play some barn burners. They're going to play some Big 12 up and down the field 4 quarters of just air raid offenses. I mean, that's what they're going to play if Stafford is healthy. And so I'm okay with where we have them. You know what? I'm locking it all in. I'm locking it all in, and I feel really good about what we did here. And so we took the numbers. We allowed the numbers to kind of be a tiebreaker when needed to be, but we've locked in our first power rankings for 2023. And I will read them one more time for the podcast audience. For those of you watching the YouTube version of the show, you can see this as I read them. So our official launch power rankings for 2023. We've got the Chiefs 1, Eagles 2, Bengals 3, Bills 4, 49ers 5, Dolphins 6, Chargers 7, Ravens 8, Cowboys 9, the Jets 10, Browns 11, Jags 12, Lions 13, Seahawks 14, Saints 15, Steelers 16. So there's your top half of the league. Broncos 17, Panthers 18, Packers 19, Falcons 20, Giants 21, Vikings 22, Patriots 23, Commanders 24, Bears 25, Colts 26, Texans 27, Titans 28, Rams 29, Raiders 30, Bucks 31, and the Cardinals 32. So we took our numbers, we moved some teams around, we added some more context where we felt it was required, and we have now put together our power rankings for the 2023 season. So a fun way to close out this positional ranking series. Pretty painless, honestly. Heldy says there are some rankings I would have adjusted a bit, but otherwise good list. Yeah, I mean this was a fun culmination of all the work that we've been doing here on the show over the last couple of weeks, and I thought it would be a nice way to wrap it up. Now the question that we have to ask ourselves is, what is next? What is next for us here on the TDN Daily podcast? It is a great question. I don't know what Monday's show is going to bring. We've got the entire weekend. I've got the rest of the day to think about it. You're going to want to come on back and see us again tomorrow so that you can see what we've got in store for tomorrow's show. In the meantime, please rate, review, subscribe to the show, share the show, continue to grow the community, the momentum that we have right ahead of the start of football season. And join us over on the YouTube side of things. I mentioned the community. No better community than the TDN Daily community that hangs out with us here each and every day, throws in their opinion. They get to be a part of the show. You can be a part of the show Monday through Friday, 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on the Draft Network YouTube channel. And for those of you watching the show on YouTube right now live or watching it back on demand via the VODs that we've got, give the show a thumbs up. Comment, subscribe, turn on the notification bell so you know that when we go live, so that you won't miss a single episode of the TDN Daily podcast. I appreciate everyone who's been a part of this journey here for the positional rankings series here on the show. A great way to culminate this series. We've got future plans in store. Who knows what they're going to look like? You're going to have to come on back and see us again on Monday to see what those plans are. Everybody have a great weekend, and I will talk to you all on Monday. Round of applause, everybody. We have finished the positional ranking series for 2023. Very, very exciting stuff. Very, very exciting stuff. I truly don't know what we're going to do next. I have a list of workshop. I have a workshop spreadsheet. It's got a list of ideas. There's my idea workshop. we did our positional rankings, so I can remove that from the list. Positional power rankings have taken over the last 3 weeks of the shows. Um, we did top faces in new places. So the two things I have currently in the hopper that we could potentially do is college football top returning players by position, and that would kind of work similarly to the way we've done it, where 3 of the episodes every week would focus on that, and I'd have to do the research for all that stuff, and that's fine. Um, we could do that, and then and I don't think I want to jump right into this. I think we kind of want to save that. Um, I've got a team by team preview series, biggest addition, biggest subtraction, what phase of their franchise life cycle they're at, and maybe we can kind of go in depth there and do a deep dive. Ben wants me to rank every backup left guard. Let me write that down, Ben. Let me write that down in our spreadsheet. Rank every backup left guard. I've got it written down here. My brain is fried right now. We did a college transfer episode, right? Let's take a peek here. I don't remember doing one, but I've got the catalog here. That came together quite well for a finalist. Job well done. Thanks, Tuttle. Appreciate it. I mean, it's thanks to you guys as well for challenging me, throwing out different arguments. We made some changes to the list as we've done it. I'm trying to look. I mean, we've been doing this this positional ranking series for almost a month at this point. May 29th is when we started it, so I'd have to go back before then to see if we did a transfer series. A case study in the first round running backs, top faces in new places, teams most likely to be picking top 10 in the 2024 NFL draft, building an all 25 and under team we did. And then we were doing some newsy stuff, unofficial QB power rankings, biggest year one impact rookies, my 5 favorite picks. No, we have not done a college transfer episode. And if we did, it was pre-draft. No, because I'm looking back and now we're doing. I'm back because during the offseason we did more newsy stuff. We did more like reaction to the news. We talked about contracts for Burrow and Hurts, NFL expansion. No, we didn't do a transfer episode. Tate says, "What teams could you most likely see a path to outperforming their rankings we just created?" Cleveland for sure. I mean, Cleveland overall ranked 3rd offensively and 16th defensively. And if Watson is the 2020 version of himself, which I'm still skeptical of. I mean, I'm on the record with that version of Deshaun Watson is 3 years ago. And I can't put any stock into a player that last played his best version of football 3 years ago. But if that happens, they're going to be much better than the 11th best team in all of football. Atlanta's a team I'm kind of high on. We've got them 20th in our power rankings. Denver's another one. They're all the way down at 17. If Russ is just average, they're going to be decent. The Rams could probably be better than 29th. Healthy says, could be interesting. Maybe find some of our most interesting transfers. Let's write that one down as well. Ben Stringer says something about each team's 3-year outlook. Yeah, I mean, Ben, if we did something like that, I think that would fall very much in line with our team by team preview when we did a deep dive onto every team. I've got some friends who are potentially doing that right now. Got some friends who might be doing a podcast in which they go through team by team and discuss each team's roster. We might be doing that though at some point. Bailey, any team that we've had a quarterback we were unsure on, so teams like the Browns, Packers, Broncos, Bears, etc., those teams can have a wide range. Agree 100%. Rams and Cardinals based on health of QB2. Yeah, that's fair as well. That's fair as well. But yeah, I mean, we're going to get into some college stuff. I mean, obviously, this doesn't impact any of you guys, but I'm just sharing how things are going to go. Next week, we're going to have a regularly scheduled ensemble of shows. The week after that, so the week of 4th of July, the Monday show is going to be, all the shows are going to be regular. They're going to happen at the regularly scheduled times. I'm just going to be in a different location. I'm spending the 4th of July with family, so I'm traveling to South Carolina. And Jamie's on vacation at the same time. And so we've batch recorded prospects and props for the next 2 weeks. They're all done. So I don't have that on a regular basis. And so I'm going to deep dive into some of these college prospects. I'm going to start with the quarterbacks. And so pretty quickly, we're going to be able to do, my way too early list of top quarterback prospects for 2024, and how I see them entering the 2023 season. And so once we start that, the ball will be rolling on names for me to watch and names for me to kind of break down. Sam, I don't even have Colin's name written down. You're adding another name to my list. You and I need to talk offline about guys I should prioritize for what we're doing. I'm gonna watch all the guys at the quarterback position, especially, and I'm gonna watch more players this year than I have in years past, just because for the show, it's gonna be better. It's gonna make the show better, specifically during draft time. I feel like I'm much more equipped this year to talk about these draft prospects than I have in years past. And I think I started to feel that during last year's draft cycle. And I'm sure you guys noticed it as well. As we got closer to the draft, felt much more comfortable talking about all these different things. But I'm also very well aware that I am not a scout like our scouting staff is, and watching 350 plus players is probably not going to be on the radar this year. But we're going to prioritize positions like quarterback and the skill position players and some of the bigger names. Obviously, we're going to try to prioritize. So that's going to be coming at some point, and that'll probably start after the week of the 4th of July. We can start getting into that stuff. And so that'll get intermingled as well. If there's breaking news, we always do breaking news shows. If there's a big storyline that I want to get my thoughts on, I want to hear your guys' thoughts on, we always do that stuff as well. So we'll have those opportunities, but the series have kind of been fun because it's been very interactive, and it kind of gives us a roadmap of what the next couple of weeks look like on the show. So I'll give it some thought this week, and you'll obviously hear on Monday what the start of the next series or next topics are going to be. But all right, guys, I'm going to get out of here. I have to edit the podcast, get it up for the podcast audience. Appreciate every single one of you being here. Hope you all have a fantastic weekend. And we're back on Monday for another week of shows, so it should be a fun one. So everybody enjoy your weekend. I'll talk to y'all on Monday.